Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 620. No more Purdy. Big Chillians, and welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined as always with Eddie. Eddie, what? How do you want me to start here?
How good is Brock Purdy? Yeah.
The fact that we even said the word elite.
Is this a topic you want to just dive right into this topic?
The no more Purdy topic?
Look, I'm not going to judge him too harshly for that performance, because I think there's a lot of I think that Cleveland defense, right, is elite, potentially the best defense in the league, but certainly in the discussion for the best defense in the league. So I think,
didn't the Ravens put up 28 the week before on them?
I mean, the Browns, they're inconsistent, they are inconsistent. I mean, look, I'll also,
like Brock Purdy.
A week ago, we can throw out that performance from the Browns because their quarterback only knew it was starting 2 hours before the game. So, there was.
Didn't they give up 26 to the Steelers? I guess that shows, who's the better quarterback
right
there.
I don't know if that's the greatest way to analyze performances, but that Browns defense is legitimately excellent. And then the conditions, which we mentioned, right, when we were talking about the upcoming Browns game, the conditions themselves were not exactly conducive to a sort of free-flowing aerial offense. So, and then there were players going out, losing Debo during the game, losing Christian McCaffrey during the game. Lots of little factors. He wasn't particularly good. The one thing I will say.
But I guess that rules out that when you actually need to rely on him and your top guy goes out.
Here's the argument you would say. When they really needed him, he drove down the field and put them in field goal position, and the kicker missed the field goal. So,
field goal. I could have scored a touchdown.
Well, they didn't even try to. This one goes on a larger NFL gripe I have, and it annoys me because I know Bill Simmons had a similar point, but like NFL teams now settle for uncomfortably long game-winning field goals. It's a topic we've discussed in the past, where these teams just settle for like 45-yard field goals because the success rate on them is so high now. But they got into field goal range and definitely had time to try and get an extra 10 yards and just spike the ball and settled for the fact that no, we'll just kick it from here.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Well, I think what they're thinking is, Jesus Christ, our quarterback, he can't make a throw. Let's not risk him, throwing the game.
Sure, I mean, not specific to Brock Purdy, but that is the calculation that obviously is being made. But you just see every NFL team doing it, and I genuinely, you can't tell me it doesn't bother you when you have like a bet riding on a team, and they're about to kick the game-winning field goal, and they get to 45, like a 45-yarder with 25 seconds left, and just say, no, we'll just run the clock down to 3 seconds and call the timeout.
So I think Bill Simmons, his take on it was like, he wanted to know at what level a kicker would be like super comfortable with, I can make this no problem. I think the better question is what you kind of just brought up. As a bettor, at what distance are you not sweating it? I mean,
technically almost none, right? Because game, like time expiring field goal, you're always going to have a...
But there's definitely a level of like, all right, I think he's got it. Versus like, I don't know. What's the distance where it's like, I'm not too sure now.
Definitely everything under 40. As soon as they're like, it's a 30-something yard field goal or less, you feel better.
I think, for me, I think it's 35.
But I do agree.
The cutoff. Like if you say a 39-yarder, I'm like,
that's
39.
Basically 40, which is basically 50.
Which is basically blocked.
Which is basically easily skewed right. But no, I do agree with you. And ideally, you want to be in the 20s. Once you get in, I'm not really worried I know they get missed. I know they get blocked. I know snaps can be fumbled. The hold can be messed up, whatever. But realistically, once you get into the 20s, you almost feel like you don't need to watch it. You know, you're like, okay, this is like an extra point. We should be fine. But hey, we don't have to limit the criticism. I mean, I'll take it this way. I'd take Brock Purdy's performance on Sunday every day of the week over what Jalen Hurts did. So if
Yeah.
you know who I also put into the elite category, and I mean
Well, we didn't. No, first off, we don't do elite rankings.
We don't do rankings ever.
But we don't do rankings of anything. But we didn't say he was elite. The question was, is he trending more towards elite than Brock Purdy? And I would argue that at this point, Zach Wilson is trending more elite than either of them.
Let's not overreact to a single game. You know, there's a reason why there aren't many undefeated teams, and usually it boils down to a bad quarterback performance. So, you know, everyone.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
I think there is.
I mean, but is that a bad? Yes, okay. Jalen Hurts did not play well, but is that last play where he throws that pick that sets the Jets up? Is that a bad quarterback play, or is that Nick Sirianni trying to outcoach himself instead of just looking at it from face value and saying, I will happily on third down punt this ball and give it to Zach Wilson to go 90 yards down the field to score a game-winning drive versus run any risk of a turnover.
Not 90, right? Because they would have just needed a field goal.
I know. No. The first one they threw was in their own. Like he threw it at the 50. He picked it off at the 50.
Which interception? The interception where the Jets eventually took the lead from? Is the final interception? Yeah. They were up by 2 points.
He picks that at the 47.
No, I know, but when you're saying drive down 90, they only needed a field goal, so there's no scenario where they had to. Like,
oh yeah, okay, yeah. Sorry, yes.
It's probably not the greatest play call. At the same time, we don't know exactly what the play call was. You know, this is always the issue with criticizing the play call. We don't know what he got told to do. You know, it's like, for example, the analysis of the Browns. They nearly threw a pick, you know, that would have ended that game. And then Stefanski came out and said he wasn't supposed to throw it. Like his instructions were clearly roll out and like, unless a guy is absolutely wide open, do not throw the ball. Just slide and we'll kick a field goal. So you don't know necessarily what Jalen Hurts has been instructed to do.
Or like the Giants with Tyrod Taylor at the end of the first half when he does a run play at the 1 yard line and runs the clock out. And then, well, the only difference there is Dayball was very happy with fully blaming Tyrod Taylor on that.
Well, look, Stefanski was happy to throw the quarterback under the bus too. It's just that they ended up winning, so it doesn't look as bad. But and it's just a bad read by Jalen Hurts. Like it's impossible to defend regardless of what the call is. When you know the situation is like, oh, I can actually afford to take a sack here. Like there's no anything but a turnover. And really anything but a turnover and anything but an incompletion is a positive outcome for us. So to decide to throw that into that kind of coverage is just kind of mind-blowing. So regardless of what the actual play call itself was, whilst that might have increased the odds of Hurts making a mistake, at the same time, you'd think you'd trust him enough, he's experienced enough, where you'd think he's not going to be that dumb, right? Like he's not going to completely ruin our game with a decision here. And he did.
Yeah. It was not a great performance. And then they have another tough game now against the Dolphins on Sunday night coming up. So this could be a rough 2 weeks for the Eagles.
Well, they have a tough schedule. They have a tough schedule in general coming up. So, yeah, things could look a lot worse for them in a few weeks. I mean, look a lot worse. They're still obviously going to make the playoffs. They're going to be Super Bowl contenders. They're just that good. But this huge impact on their seeding, which I do think is important. You know,
even winning the division.
Yeah, they might be getting an extra playoff game as a result of this kind of loss. And then this is
But I have to say though, like we've been saying for a few weeks now that this offense has looked kind of off. They haven't clicked as well as last year, and I don't know if this is the Bill Barnwell coming back to normal. Maybe they just were just not lucky, but just happened to be hitting on every cylinder last season. And now we're seeing a more normal version of this offense, the coaching of the offense, the running of the offense. Jalen Hurts in general is maybe come back down to normal a little bit, or if this was just a blip, but they haven't looked as unstoppable this season as they have last. And maybe it's just because their schedule is tougher. And last year they had such an easy schedule that they were blowing out these 2-win teams and everyone thought they were the greatest offense on the planet. And, maybe now they're playing tougher teams and not getting the greatest results.
Yeah. And I just think in general, right, we expect too much perfection from sports teams. Like there has to be some allowance to have slightly bad spells, like a few games where you're not pitch perfect, and then also to have bad losses. Like history tells us this doesn't have, like we shouldn't significantly change the Super Bowl odds of either the Eagles or the Niners as a result of what happened in week 5. Like that's not, aside from injuries, nothing at this point of the season really matters too much. So yeah, I guess the other talking point from that game though is their decision to let the Jets score. And then the analysis of should they have been, the Jets been smart enough to know that was going to happen and to have turned down the touchdown to.
I mean, they're the Jets. They're not smart.
But I feel like in this analysis, people have been treating it as if it was either the Eagles getting the ball back with 1:45 or whatever it was with 2 timeouts, or time was going to expire as the Jets kicked a field goal. That there would have been like 55 seconds left. So either you score, say they play it perfectly, they kick the field goal with 55 seconds left. So the Eagles have no timeouts, but only need to get into field goal range then. I actually think the touchdown, I felt less confident with them. If you told me, as someone like I had them ranked high, for example, in my confidence pool, if you had told me that the Eagles needed to get 40 yards to kick a game-winning field goal with no timeouts but 55 seconds versus...
It would have been less than 55. It would have been about 40, it looks like.
You sure?
Because they have one... Well, they scored. They started to play at 1:46, the first and goal. So if you say 5 seconds of play, so first down, second down, third down, that's 15 seconds just in playing.
5 seconds a pretty long play on.
Not really.
I mean, a pass play takes 6 seconds to develop. So a run play up the gut where you're getting stuffed taking 5 seconds, it's a pretty slow.
So what does it take? 3?
Well, we're counting 3. The seconds, so yeah.
Okay, so 10 seconds, and then 40 would be the last run off of the clock because they would be able to stop at 1. So that's 50 seconds, and then 4 seconds to kick a field goal. So that's about 55. So you're looking at like 40, 50 seconds left.
All right.
It's tough. You got to go. So you're giving yourself. It's tough.
The argument is, the only argument that I think that makes more sense is that if you drop down on the 1 or inside the 1 yard line, you're probably going to score the touchdown anyway on an ensuing play. And so you could have made them burn 1 timeout. And
more timeout.
But you're taking the risk. Like, it's always one of these things. We assume that everything goes perfectly, but then what happens if they fumble the snap or the running back?
Yeah. I mean, it's Zach Wilson.
I think he's actually playing pretty well, so I don't know. But anything is possible in the sense of you see people get stuffed on the goal line and fumble the ball. So, then how does the analysis change? Like, the assumption is everything goes smoothly from that point on, which if you're going to assume that everything goes that smoothly on offense, why not trust your defense, which had shut the Eagles out in the second half?
Yeah. And I mean, I think the other argument for what you're saying is it's not as if the Eagles were driving down the field every series. So you put them in having to score. I don't know, like they have to score a touchdown, right? And they haven't scored a touchdown in almost 2 quarters since the second quarter early on. So I would be kind of confident that my defense can stop them and from scoring a touchdown instead of maybe stopping them from hitting 2 20-yard passes and kicking especially with Elliott, a 60-yard field goal to win it. So you can definitely make that argument as well.
Yeah, even though he just missed a relatively short field goal. But yeah, no, I think.
But he kicks bombs though.
Into the crowd. but no, I think. Yeah, no. Look, I would rather have the touchdown advantage. The field goal advantage, I think it comes back again. That feels like as much as the influx of and the influence of statistics have changed decision making in the NFL. I think people underrate the ability of teams to get the 35, 40 yards they need to attempt a field goal. Like we live in a world now where people realistically kick 60-yard game-winning field goals. So you don't really need like one completion can put you into field goal range. Certainly 2 completions almost certainly does. So to assume that you can, like they can have 4th and 10 from their own 25, and next thing you know, it's like, oh, Eagles are winning. Like probability of winning has just gone to 80%.
Yeah. Oh, you can script easy, like a 12-yard out, guy steps out, next play, Hurts scrambles because that's all deep routes, gets like 15 yards on a scramble, steps out of bounds, 6-yard out of bounds, 58-yard field goal win.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it a dozen times.
I've not only seen that, I've seen the same scenario where all of a sudden, if you want the Eagles to win, you're flipping and you're like, oh, they might kick this field goal too soon. Like all of a sudden, they have like 4th and 6 with 30 seconds left. And you think, oh shit, now the Jets are going to get the ball back with 30 seconds to go. And they might be able to kick a game-winning field goal. So yeah, I think you take the touchdown advantage and you trust your defense, almost regardless of the situation. I just think that's the smartest decision. But that's the 2 undefeated teams, both losing. So I had to do a little bit of digging because obviously that's week 5. It feels early for there to be no undefeated teams left in the NFL. So I wanted to ask you, what's the earliest that the league has been left without an undefeated team?
I'll say week 4. I'll go back 1 week.
Correct. How many times do you think?
It seems about like the only way it's almost feasible.
How many times do you think it's happened?
Oof. Twice.
Also correct. Happened once in 2010 when the Bears, Steelers, and Chiefs were all undefeated going into week 4, and they all.
Wow, what a different time that was.
All lost. And it happened again in 2014 when the Eagles, Bengals, and Cardinals were all undefeated going into week 4 and all lost.
Wow. That's even crazy that going into week 4, there was only 3 teams undefeated.
Yeah, although I guess going into week 5 this year, there were only 2. So, okay.
Yeah, but I think going into week 4, there was like 6.
Maybe. But, hey, the Eagles and the Niners are probably happy. It takes that, is this going to be the undefeated team discussion? Just remove.
I don't think that was ever.
It kind of was.
Let me go back to the Niners real quick here, Eddie. Not to overreact, but we saw what happened to the Niners when McCaffrey went out. Are you now more worried that if something were to happen to McCaffrey, this team could unravel quickly?
No, I mean, I don't unravel quickly. I think they remain a Super Bowl contender with or without Christian McCaffrey. I think they are the best team in the NFL with Christian McCaffrey, and I think they drop to being the 4th or 5th best team in the NFL without him. I think he is, but these are marginal gains, right? Like there's not a huge difference between being the best team and the 4th best team in my eyes this year, because they're not like the standout teams we've seen in years past. I think to be without both Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and have them both go out in the same game, as much as they still had Ayuk and George Kittle and other weapons, to have to shift your game plan that significantly mid-game in tough conditions against a very good defense, not easy. Like, I don't think we can underestimate how much of an impact that really has on game planning. So, look, if they'd been playing the Chiefs, I wouldn't have been as worried because I think they still would have been able to move the ball pretty effectively. But there's a handful of teams against.
Chiefs defense looks pretty good.
Who are they playing? I mean, like, they're looking okay against some pretty garbage teams. But
didn't.
But no, I think, it's not a case of without Christian McCaffrey, this team cannot win the Super Bowl. I don't think it's that. The equation is not that simple. But obviously, he's the best running back in the league. He's one of the most valuable non-quarterback offensive weapons, if not the most valuable non-quarterback offensive weapons. So, yeah, that obviously impacts the team.
Speaking of the Chiefs, did you see that they're getting Mecole Hardman back from the Jets?
Yeah, which, I mean, I guess helps them for that big play threat that they are severely lacking at the moment.
Not doing anything with the Jets. I think he's got one reception this season.
Yeah, no. And look, he doesn't do that much with the Chiefs either. It's just every once in a while he has some big plays. It's not as if he was,
hits a big one.
It wasn't as if he was, getting, 150 yards a game. Like, he'll pop up with a couple big plays and he's better than what they have in their wide receiver core at the moment. So it's a useful addition. And he obviously knows the system. So that's a big help over other additions they could have made. But it's not like that something radically changes my opinion of the Chiefs.
Okay, maybe that doesn't. But how about then instead, Eddie, the Jets, who just beat the Eagles to go to 3-3, which when you look back at their schedule, even with Rodgers, are they going to be 5-1? Probably not. Maybe they have one less win than they would have. So out of a pretty tough opening 6 games, 3-3, but all reports is that Aaron Rodgers is extremely well ahead of schedule, freakishly fastly recovering, according to team doctors.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe anything that comes out of the Aaron Rodgers camp. So, I mean, yeah, look, the pictures come out. I don't know, because for every time social media overreacts, right? There's pictures of him throwing pregame. I mean, not moving, but just tossing a ball. And social media kind of erupts with like, how is this possible? And then respected doctors, those kind of guys who comment on NFL injuries on social media then say, actually, for an Achilles injury, this isn't that weird. Like, he should be able to stand up and throw a ball. The question is sprinting full speed. It's not his ability to walk or stand independently at this point. So I don't know. Having never been through an Achilles injury, it's hard for me to gauge whether or not he's ahead of schedule or behind schedule. And reports seem to differ. So as for the Jets season, yeah, I think they're probably, with a fully healthy Aaron Rodgers, they're probably the same record. So I think but maybe they would have had it in a different order, if you see what I mean. So maybe they wouldn't have beaten the Bills in week 1, but they probably would have beaten the Patriots. Like, there's different.
God, how do they not beat the Patriots?
There's different ways of kind of working out how they get to those wins. But when you look at it and you think that their losses are to the Chiefs, the Cowboys, okay, the Patriots is the weird one, but beat the Bills and beat the Eagles. So, yeah, I think from the 6th game.
But I guess, are you, is the stock rising if Rodgers can make a return late in the season?
I don't think there's any way he's making, maybe if they're making the playoffs, maybe he's back in, like, even the optimistic talk, right, is that he's back in January. So what's he playing the final game of the season? Like, if
that's it, that's all he needs. One win, playoffs.
If everything's on the line, which for them It's the Patriots, so that's a win. They don't need him.
Oh, call me up. I can do
I mean,
better
they
than
don't need him
Rodgers.
for that. They might need him the week before. December 29th is the Browns. Maybe. But then, put it this way. If Aaron Rodgers is coming back from an Achilles injury, do you want his comeback game to be against maybe the best defense in the league that's sure to get him? Like, again, the Jets do not have the best offensive line anyway. So put him up against that Browns pass rush. I think that could be. Has an NFL quarterback ever snapped his Achilles twice in the same regular season? That would be the question to ask. I don't think they're doing better than expected, and I think Wilson is showing signs of encouragement.
Don't even say. You are being fooled,
I'm not being
Eddie. You're
I'm
being
not being
fooled.
He's showing signs of encouragement. I think it's for the Jets. If I were a Jets fan, this would worry me because he's showing just enough promise that whenever the Rodgers era comes to an end, you now feel as if, well, we got to give him a chance, right? Like he showed he wasn't bad. Like we got to give this high draft pick a chance to show its true potential. So almost if I were a Jets fan, I would have rather had this season go catastrophically poorly. So you just know, no, let's not embrace mediocrity with Wilson.
Oh, I think you're being fooled. He's had 4 starts this season. How many touchdown passes do you think he has?
3.
2, and they're both against the Chiefs. So 3 out of his 4 games doesn't have a TD pass.
I'm not a big believer in that type of statistical analysis. I think he passes the eye test. I think he's a legitimate backup quarterback in the NFL. I think if he's your backup, you feel like he could come in and win you a game.
Oh, that's a big difference than trying to be a playoff team.
But I didn't say they were. You keep telling
they
I was
are right
fooled,
now.
and
Technically, they're in the playoffs if it ended today.
Yeah, and I don't think they'll. The test against the Giants is going to be an interesting one.
Why?
I think they'll lose. I think the Giants will win.
Oh boy, Eddie.
Which I think that's when.
Talk about good backup quarterbacks. At this point, I think I ride with Tyrod Taylor the rest of the season.
But I mean, okay, let's run through their schedule. So you're going to give them the win against the Giants.
Yeah.
I'll let you do the pick.
Yes.
So that's 4-3. Chargers.
Loss.
At the Chargers.
Loss.
4-4. Home to the Raiders.
Raiders surprisingly decent. I'll give them a loss.
4-5. Okay. Home for the Bills.
Loss.
4-6. Home for the Dolphins.
Loss.
Oh no, at the Dolphins.
Doesn't matter.
Changes anything. 4-7. At the Falcons.
Win. I think the Falcons.
5-7. 5-7. At the Texans.
I'll give them the win here because I gave them the loss to the Raiders.
So that's 6-7. Home for the Dolphins.
Loss.
6-8. At the Commanders.
Win.
7-8. Home for the Browns.
Here comes Aaron Rodgers. 8-8.
Okay, and then home for the Patriots. So you've got them going 9-8.
I would actually realistically, I think, have them going 8-9. 9-8's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, it's put it this way. You say it's fair, but it's
optimistically
fair.
Optimistically fair.
So
to get to 10 would be a great accomplishment for that team.
Yeah, it means they have to not slip up, and they have to sneak a win against probably the Raiders, maybe the Chargers. You could say maybe they have a chance against, and that's it. Like I can't see them beating the Dolphins. Like they just don't score enough points. Like to beat the Dolphins, you need minimum 30 points.
Yeah. And we just said Zach Wilson has 2 touchdown passes in 4 games.
So, yeah, it isn't going to happen. Because you gave them every win.
I gave them the benefit of the doubt on most games.
Yeah.
No, you're not beating the Bills. You're not beating the Dolphins twice. I mean, how different would that story be if they did what they should have done and lost to the Bills in the opening week, and instead now they're 2-4? I think we're not even discussing that. But that's how like that one game is affecting them so much.
Yeah. I mean, they'd reverse it, right? They'd say if they'd done what they should have done and beaten the Patriots and they were 4-2, how different is that discussion? So, I mean, they are fine margins making the playoffs in the NFL, right? It's this sample size of games is so small that one or two weird wins or one or two weird losses and completely changes it. But yeah, I don't think they'll make the playoffs. And I hope they don't, because nothing would ruin Wild Card Weekend more than part of the storyline being Aaron Rodgers coming back. And you know they'd lose, and then we'd have to deal with him just blaming everyone but himself.
Yeah. And I'll correct myself. I said that Wilson started 4 games. He started 5 games, not 4. I discounted him 1 touchdown in that first start in Dallas.
There we go.
Where he also had 3 picks.
Game changer.
So he has 3 and 5. This is just a quick one we talked about. We just mentioned Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor and backups. I was shocked to hear this is Tyrod Taylor's 13th year in the league. Doesn't that seem crazy to you? That's a long time. And I did not think he was in the NFL that long.
Yeah. So Tyrod Taylor, basically our friendship is as long as Tyrod Taylor's NFL career. I mean, that's the weird thing, is to try and put my life back in the moment it was when Tyrod Taylor was drafted into the NFL.
Like, I remember when he was on the Bills, and it was the debate of whether he should be starting on the Bills. That's like 9 years ago. That's crazy.
Yeah, time flies. But yeah, it's a weird old thing. What other talking points from last weekend's NFL games do you want to touch on? I guess you put me on the spot. I got to put you on the spot.
I thought we would get quiet.
The Chargers.
I didn't expect them to win that game anyway, so it's okay for me.
Can you expect them to win any game at the moment?
No.
I mean, are they done? Like, is this playoff hopes gone?
No, I don't think they're done.
They're
not at 2-3.
Well, they're playing
They do have a really tough schedule, but I still think.
Yeah, they're playing.
You want to go run through this one too? I'll give you this one.
We can do. I mean, I've got it up if you want.
Go ahead. They're 2-3. I'll go quick. Go ahead.
Home for the Chiefs. Sorry.
2-4. Well, actually, no. I'm gonna go. No, they own the Chiefs. They've won the last 3 or 4 against them.
Yeah, so they're due.
Okay, let's say. So, do they play them twice still?
Yeah.
Let's say they split. Let's say they split. So let's say they win this one and lose the next one. So 3-3.
Have they played each other already? No, they haven't played each other.
I don't think so.
No, they play each other final week of the season.
Okay.
So that could be a win for them, because
we'll split it.
Okay, so 2-4, you have them.
Okay.
At the Bears.
Win.
Home for the Jets.
Win.
At the Lions.
Loss.
So they're 4-5 now. Home for the Packers.
Win.
5-5. At the Ravens.
I don't know what to make the Ravens. At the Ravens, I'll give them a loss.
5-6. Home for the Patriots.
Win.
6-6. At the Broncos.
Win.
7-6. Home for the Raiders.
Win.
8-6. At the Bills.
Loss.
8-7. Home for the Broncos.
Win.
9-7. At the Chiefs.
Win.
So 10-7.
That'll make it.
That will. I think a lot of it, weirdly, might come down to, do the Chiefs need to win final week of the season?
Yeah.
Like, that could be, because that could make the difference. And again, I don't think you were being too optimistic there, because actually their schedule is not as bad as it really looks. There's a lot of very easily winnable games.
We got the Broncos twice. That's huge.
There's still a few games in there that, you've like home for the Raiders. They could lose that.
Yeah.
They could home for the Packers. They could lose that.
Maybe.
This team. I mean,
I'm losing faith in the Packers week by week, even though I think they had a bye week this week, right? I lost a little faith in the bye week, no. Yeah, Herbert did not play well. I was surprised, actually. I didn't hear it from you, but I heard it from my dad, who the next morning wanted to make sure I knew how shitty Herbert played.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you need people in your life to remind you that he's not the second coming. But yeah, I mean, look, the Cowboys, I think I don't struggle to know what to make of the Chargers team. I struggle to know what to make of this Cowboys team, which is they're pretty good. I think it's just where I have to fall on them.
When I predicted them to make the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year, you questioned me about whether I can trust Dak Prescott enough to do that. And at the time, I would have said yes. The more I watch them, the more confused I am as to whether I should say yes or not. Because he has times where he looks pretty good. And then he has times where he just sits there and it's like he forgot what he's doing. It's just like he either just gets sacked and like just didn't move for 5 seconds, or he's just looking around to literally nothing and then just throws it away. The amount of times I see him get sacked or make a throwaway on a play where there's guys open, every game it's like more and more you see it. It's almost like too easy to see now. So that worries me a little. I don't know what's going on there. But he didn't play terrible. But again, is it enough to be a Super Bowl contending with quarterback? I don't know. I'm not super confident.
No, I don't think unless something weird happens. I can't see a scenario in which they make it past the Eagles and the Niners in the NFC. I can't see them put it this way, and this is not me being a big nut. The Niners, as we touched on last week, is such a bad matchup for them.
Yeah.
They need someone else to knock out the Niners in the playoffs, because I just think there's the Niners should be 15-point favorites in the playoffs against the Cowboys. And that's not because it's just, it's just one of those things.
What about the Niners without McCaffrey?
14-point favorites. But I mean, it's just such a great matchup for them that I just can't see a scenario in which the Cowboys win that game. But yeah. All right. What else? Not the most eventful weekend in the NFL.
No.
Probably not too much else to discuss, really.
Yeah, I mean, Fields got knocked out of the game. We talked about Justin Fields on our last podcast. Dolphins looked good again against the Panthers, so I don't know what, who cares? 42 against the Panthers,
the Panthers are so bad.
So bad.
I think the only thing that was creditable there is they were down 14-0, right? So there was the moment of, whoa, is this going to be a really surprising loss? And then they scored 24 points in 3 minutes, and all of a sudden it was game over.
I mean, I think that the talking points might be more in the middle of the pack teams, where you had the Jags beat the Colts, and now the Jags are 4-2 in a weak division. So I don't think they're that great of a team, but they're going to have a decent record when all is said and done.
Here's what I think the market has yet to correct. The Colts are not in the middle of the NFL pack.
3-3.
They fooled some people early, but the wheels are fast coming off the Colts. And
Anthony Richardson's gone for the year now, so you're relying on Gardner Minshew for the year.
People are not adjusting to the fact. They are being fooled. A couple of early weeks of the Colts being impressive, and then the Colts and the Cardinals, the wheels are gone. These are not middle of the pack teams.
Well, the Cardinals are 1-5. The Colts are 3-3.
No, I know, but even the Cardinals, right? People are still giving them they're kind of frisky. They're better than we thought they were going to be. It's I don't think they are better than we thought. No, that was
just the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, they were okay. They gave it all they got for
those
2 weeks of the
3
season.
weeks. They're done.
And then that Giants loss, they were just shit, guys, we suck.
Yeah.
We really tried there. But
And then, and then the other game, I think, maybe being Texans Saints, and the Texans beating the Saints to now go 3-3, with the Saints now dropping also to 3-3. Again, I don't think either team is great, but one of them is going to win a division, probably, and one of them is going to make the playoffs, and they're not going to win in the playoffs, but they're going to make it. So I at least think it's pretty impressive what Stroud's doing. You know, he's having a great start to the season so far. Did throw his first interception, but had 2 nice touchdown passes, got the win. The Texans, I think, might be better than we thought they were, but I don't think that's very good. But they're definitely exceeding expectations.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. And then the other game that I kind of wanted to touch on, I guess, briefly, the Seahawks Bengals game, which I actually watched a sizable chunk of just because there weren't that many good games. And that game just stayed within. How on earth the Seahawks did not win that game is mind blowing. I mean, for people who didn't pay attention to it. So they were down 13-17. They went down that with what? Basically 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They then have a punt on their next possession, but pretty much from midfield. So you're not that far out of, fourth down range. But then on the ensuing 2 possessions, they have first and goal, which starts with a sack. And then they have another first and goal right at the end of the game, or I guess technically not first and goal, right? Or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, I think they had
9.
They could have got a first down at a 1 yard line, but basically 4 goes from within the 10, basically. Well, 8 goes from within the 10 over 2 possessions and came away with nothing, and not even came away with nothing. Never look like scoring. It's rare on that final set of downs, the 4 downs. Like, I went away to get a drink and came back and sat down, and they'd moved. It was like suddenly they were first and goal or whatever. I was like, wow, they're going to do it. And on none of the 4 plays they came up with did they even threaten to get close to the end zone, which I actually think is marginally impressive.
I'll put it this way. I'm going to back up just a little bit. If I told you your team is down 14-13, and in the next 4 drives, 3 of them will be in the red zone, you expect to win that game. They had 3 out of their final 4 drives in the red zone and went interception, downs. And red zone is being generous, because all of them were inside the 10, some as close as like the 5, so it's not like they were like the 19 3 times.
Yeah. And first downs.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll be like, oh, they got into the red zone. It's like, yeah, they got in there on like 4th and 3. They got to the 19. This is like, no. You were first down in the red, fully in the red zone.
2 first and goals and 1 just outside, first and 11, 10 at the 11.
Yeah.
And then if I reversed that and told you the other team in the second half goes interception, punt, field goal, punt, you've got to think you're winning that game. 3 points. You held the other team to 3 points in the second half, and you had 3 attempts in the red zone and lost that game. That's fucking crazy.
Oh no, it's one of the weirder. The thing that saves them, right, is the perception of people that the Bengals are good. So I think like Pete Carroll and the Seahawks have been kind of scrutinized less than they would have been. Like, had they lost that game to the Cardinals, people would have been way more critical of them. And I don't think the Bengals are actually good. And then the other thing that helps them too is just the Seahawks are flying slightly under the radar. After that week 1 loss, I think people instantly overreacted and kind of dismissed them as being that good. And so they're not really getting the attention they probably should get for being, they're going to be a playoff team. They're, not a Super Bowl contender, but they could win a game in the playoffs, put it that way.
Yeah, I agree. That was a weird result.
Now, I had a question that came up that I wanted to ask you. This is just in line with, those questions that are popular, like which would you be more likely to be able to do? Not quite that dumb, but like, could you get a hole in one or whatever, or if you were given 10 attempts, do you think you could, make 5 yards in the NFL, or, whatever those questions are? Which do you think is more likely in the NFL? Do you think you could more likely score a touchdown or get a sack? Any means are available for you on the touchdown, right? So you can either make yourself a wide receiver and hope that it's blown coverage and you're open by 30 yards and walking into the end zone, or it's, first down from the 1 inch line.
If I'm a defensive player trying to get a sack, can I be like a cornerback and just blitz every time from like the cornerback or safety position and try and go unblocked?
Yeah, if you want. Yeah, if you think that you can pull that off. Yeah,
that's a pretty good question. Both? I can equally do both easily.
Every time.
Every fucking
every play. I think I would go touchdown, because I am a firm believer that if it was first and goal from the inside the 1 yard line, and I just get 4 attempts to rush it up the gut, that I'm probably getting there eventually.
Oh, Nick Bosa would rip your head off.
Whereas the sack would be harder to come by. Like with no skill, I think it's going to be, you could luck your way in. Like you could have, I don't know, again, pick your team. If you're around a lot of other talented pass rushers, you're just the guy who slides in at the very end to like technically get the sack, but it's because Nick Bosa like grabbed the quarterback and then pushed him, and then you've come in to just like breathe on him to knock him over.
I mean, I think I'm the Giants. I'm playing the Giants offensive line, and I think I'm on the Niners or the Eagles.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's doable, but I think if I was like bet my life, I have a full game to get one of the two outcomes, I think I'm going touchdown.
I mean, and you have to think it's actually pretty close how many sacks there are a game versus how many touchdowns there are. Maybe slightly more sacks than touchdowns, but it's not overwhelmingly more.
No, you're probably talking the average is what?
5-6 sacks a game.
Yeah, somewhere in the 5 to 10 range combined. Yeah,
maybe even more.
Yeah. No, it's comparable in terms of numbers.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think if you're scoring a touchdown, I don't think what you're saying is the way to go. I think being a receiver and like getting a blown coverage or like a one-on-one coverage and just burning them deep.
But there you have to, you're hoping for, then you're like scripting the scenario, if you see what I mean. You're really coming up. I'm saying I'm not relying on the incompetence of the other team. I'm just trusting that if I really, really wanted it with a full head of steam,
I think you're discounting how fucking strong NFL players are.
No, if I get a good offensive line, this is the thing. Like if I get a really good offensive line, I know where the gap is going to be. I think, do I get in every time? No. Do I get in once? Yeah. Do I run the risk that the first time I don't get in,
you die.
I basically get murdered? The next play is just someone grabbing me and dragging me over while I hold onto the ball, so it's okay. I mean,
so switch. Oh, go ahead.
The only thing I will, I might agree with you. The only other way, the less risky way to try and get the touchdown, is in a goal line situation, to be a receiver and to, like we always discuss, to have the sort of quarterback rollout and you're running parallel. And there you're probably just untouched. You might get demolished catching it, but usually that doesn't require any particular speed. You're probably, it's not like a contested catch usually. So you're probably either wide open or you're not. And that is probably the safest way to try and get the touchdown. But, you know, I still think you'd be able to just run it up the gut and probably do it. I mean, do you think the tush push? Do you think if you...
No, I think what's going to happen, what you said, you roll out and you're going to get Rod Tidwell in the end zone.
No, but okay, but say if you went to the Eagles, first and goal from the inside the 1 yard line, and you become quarterback, you don't think they're just pushing you over the line to score a touchdown?
Yeah, maybe, but I might have a broken neck.
Worth it.
Then I'm definitely Rod Tidwell.
But you
get
the
up in the stands.
But you get the contract. Money. Yeah, you get the contract immediately afterwards.
So let's switch gears, switch sports a little bit. I'm going to give you a little bittersweet moment here because England has now beaten Italy to qualify for the next Euros competition to kind of avenge their last foray into that competition where they lost to Italy. But I'll make this a positive discussion instead of trying to let you remember the bad times. With that performance of Jude Bellingham, do you think England are a favorite now to win that competition? How excited and optimistic are you? I know it's only one performance, but if that's what you're going to get in the next major competition, are you excited watching him play like that?
I mean, yeah. So he does something that's really important for England, which is when Harry Kane is dropping deep, he makes the runs past Harry Kane, which we saw on a couple of occasions, which is the thing, right? When England look their worst is when Harry Kane drops deep, gets the ball, there's no one running past him, and play just kind of stops, and they have to rebuild from like 10 yards further deeper in than they were previously. You can see, I mean, we spoke about it, right? When he signed for Real Madrid, you can just see the impact. He's full of confidence right now because everything is going well for him. I mean,
it's oozing out every orifice.
If you were going to be negative, it would be, from an England perspective, this is the wrong time for him to have this rich vein of form. Like, he will probably not be in this good of form in the summer. So if you wanted to put a negative slant on it, it's then the timing is not perfect. But still, him learning, it's why, and again, another topic we've spoken about in the past, I'd already be such a big advocate for more England players going abroad and just learning, as particularly because the international system is closer to the way the game is played in other European leagues. And so you're just learning a better style of play to go and influence and impact international football. Yeah, Bellingham's exciting. I mean, he's on course to be the best player in the world. It's been a long time since England have really been able to say that. So
20 years old. It's crazy.
Yeah. Barring,
when you think about, like, we always talk about how young Phil Foden still is, and he's a whole 3 years younger than Phil Foden, That's crazy.
No, and so barring injury, hopefully he'll have a, kind of clean career from that perspective. It's such an important area of the pitch to have such a dominant and talented player. But I mean, the positive isn't just him. I mean, Foden played well, for example, in that game. Rashford, Kane, again, I think Kane is benefiting from that Bayern Munich experience, which again, we also spoke about, Tuchel does not want Kane to drop deep in that same way. He wants him to be leading the line in a more traditional sense. And I think you even saw from that England benefited from that slightly. Overall, to me, the reaction of the general public has been surprisingly either sort of nonchalant or negative to England winning comfortably against Italy. People are just like, well, Italy aren't that good.
Yeah.
Italy aren't the best team in the world, but they're pretty good. Like, they're a top 10 team in the world. They're a top 6 or 7 team in Europe. So to win with that kind of comfort and in that manner, there have not been many times in our lifetimes when England have been able to do that. And England are fully in the stage now where I just expect them to turn up and win. They went behind. I wasn't concerned. The only team, I'll be honest with you, the only team going into the Euros who I'm going to be genuinely wary of playing is France. That's it. And that's not good. I think England are better than France, but I still think England and France are on that tier 1 of European football. Everyone else is slightly behind them. So everyone else would need England to be slightly off their best to beat them. Maybe not by much, like Germany might need England to be 95% of their best performance, and then if Germany are 100%, they can win. But France, if it's 100 versus 100, France might win the game still. So, no, but if I'm trying to...
Yeah.
So I'm super confident going into the Euros. But you also know part of me just doesn't want them to win. So I'm scared. Is this the summer when England ruin international football for me?
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. It's just not him that is looking really good right now. But obviously, let's say it's a much shorter lifetime that I've been watching England play. They've always kind of not had that. It's almost like what you're saying, like just oozing with confidence that he is. Like they haven't had for me that like feel or that player that just kind of has that spark where you kind of just you can't describe it, but you can kind of see it when you see it, where there's some teams that have players where at any moment you're just like, oh, here we go, quick one, boom, and like kind of like when like
what are you,
Mbappe,
John Madden all of a sudden?
yeah, a little bit like Mbappe, with France sometimes, where it's like he's out there and they just have that swagger almost to them, where at any time something really great could happen. And watching that match the other day, like that was the first time I kind of almost felt that with England, where like every time he almost touched it, you were just like, ooh, kind of just had like a really good feeling.
He is very charismatic and he oozes confidence. And I do agree.
You gotta stop saying oozes.
No, but he does.
We're not the Ninja Turtles here.
But I think it touches on what you're saying there, that England not having a player like that. They've had, Harry Kane is a world-class player. And he might be an inspirational leader in terms of the way he trains and the way he plays and the impact he can have on a match. But he's kind of anonymous from a personality standpoint.
Yeah.
Bellingham has that sort of X factor. Like when when they were losing and he got the crowd, he kind of gestured for the crowd to make some noise. When he won the penalty and he did the breathe gesture to the supporters. It's those little things that, I don't know, it's quite cocky and quite arrogant. But he's just managing to stay on the not awful side of the line, which is important because he's still likable. He's straddling it. I'm not going to lie. Like his celebration with the just kind of embracing the adulation of the crowd. Even yesterday when he helped set up the Rashford goal, and I know he'd made his run, very intelligent run to open the space for Rashford. He draws one defender to the left, which opens up the space for Rashford to cut in on the right. He took one defender completely out of play. Great run. It's a sign of his intelligence, his footballing intelligence. He just carried on his run. He ran off to the left corner flag to celebrate by himself, and all the other England players went to the right corner flag to celebrate together. And he's got to be a little bit cautious, I think, about that. But for the time being, it's just England. Rashford isn't that type of player. I think he's very... These are all players who are confident in their own ability, but I don't know how much confidence they would bring out of their teammates.
Yeah.
So...
He's just got that mojo.
Yeah. I think you'd feel like if you were playing with him, I think he'd make you feel better. Yeah. I think he has that. He seems to want to do that. He wants to make everyone else confident. He wants to kind of bring, like you said, a little bit of swagger to the whole thing. Whereas a lot of the other England players, they're kind of reserved. You could run through the list. Kane's like that. Rashford's like that. Saka, great player. But again, he's this kind of shy, childlike character. Does great things on the pitch, but you just kind of, he's doing his thing. And yeah, Bellingham has the possibility of sort of changing that. And yeah, it's exciting. I still think there's areas of concern, obviously, with the England team, how they handle the central midfield behind Bellingham. I mean, Declan Rice will hold down that position, but they probably need something a bit more out of whoever plays alongside Declan Rice. So that's one area they have to address ahead of the Euros. And then defensively, I mean, there's injuries, right? That was without Saka, which again, even more impressive, right? You know, arguably England's second best player based on form so far this season, not playing, and he didn't miss a beat. So, but yeah, it's a lot of talent in that team. So I think they should be favorites technically to win it. Doesn't mean they will, but they probably should be favorites.
And I guess another thing you correctly predicted is maybe the Neymar situation, and this one being obviously a little more unfortunate than his previous quote-unquote injuries. But reports are that Neymar has torn his ACL and will have an extended leave of absence from football.
Yeah, obviously you don't want someone to get hurt. Obviously this wasn't part of his plan, but I bet you part of him's not that unhappy. Like he's probably going to rehab for months on end. Unlike Aaron Rodgers, this is probably going to be the slowest rehab we've ever seen.
I mean, that was kind of going to half jokingly be my question.
Yeah.
Is this the end of Neymar?
Well, no, because he's definitely not retiring. Is it the end
No,
of
I don't mean retiring, but I mean just in being a half competent footballer.
No, I mean, he's so talented. I think he'll.
But this is a long road to recovery.
The question is, how much does he want to play in another World Cup? That's the only thing he's got left, right? How much does he want to play? How much does he want to win a World Cup? That's the question.
Is that I'm supposed to answer it? I don't know the exact answer.
Can you tell me on a scale of 1 to 10 how much does
I'm
he want to
texting him now. Hold on. I don't know what the time zone difference is.
Oh,
he's going to respond right away. No, I just put the World Cup symbol and question mark.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. But yeah. And like Brazil struggling in their qualification phase. They drew at home with Venezuela, which I think was the first. They'd won 15 matches in a row at home, something like that in World Cup qualifiers. Then they lost to Uruguay. The South American qualification is tough. Like it's a lot harder than European qualification. It's not the gimme because of they're all in one big group. So, they could slip up. There's a risk that Brazil could not qualify. They probably still will, but cause for concern for them to have dropped points in consecutive matches.
Yeah. We don't do rankings, but we do quizzes based off rankings. So I have a little trivia quiz for you, Eddie. I'll let you choose which one you want to answer. So I have here the list of the top 10 highest paid footballers in 2023. Would you rather do top 5 from total earnings or a little trickier top 5 off-field earnings?
Oof. I mean, I feel like they're going to be quite a similar list, I would have thought, but
they're similar, but they're not identical.
I'll do total earnings.
Okay, top 5 total earnings. I expect this in order.
Oh God. I don't know if I can do that in order. I won't try in order. Messi.
Okay. Messi's number 2. You've lost.
Ronaldo, I'm guessing, might be number 1.
Ronaldo's number 1. Ronaldo is 260 million. Messi is 135 million.
Neymar
is 3 at 112 million. These are USDs, by the way. Mbappe, number 4, 110 million. You're just missing number 5. Think about it.
Benzema?
Don't rush. Benzema, yes, 106 million.
I could have done that in order.
I know,
Because
but you didn't.
I know, but because I knew Ronaldo was one. If I'd really committed to doing it in order, I actually could have done it in order. That's annoying.
The interesting one is if you did it in terms of off-field earnings. Messi's number one, Ronaldo's number two, Neymar, Mbappe, and then Erling Haaland moves up to number five. There's not much sponsorship love for Karim Benzema.
Surprising. But yeah, I guess while we're on the...
I'm sorry, actually Salah. Salah is number five.
Oh, makes sense.
And then Haaland.
But I guess while we're on the international sports thread, worth mentioning the Rugby World Cup now entering the semi-final stage. A couple of minor upsets over the weekend. France, host nation, were slight favorites against South Africa and lost. Ireland, number one team in the world, were slight favorites against New Zealand and lost. Argentina were, slight underdogs against Wales and won. And then England were favorites and won. So we got England against South Africa in one semifinal on Saturday, and Argentina against New Zealand on Friday. So all roads seem to point towards a New Zealand-South Africa final, which just surprising given the fact that coming into this World Cup, all the talk was of Northern Hemisphere dominance, perhaps. Even talk going into the quarterfinals that we might have an all Northern Hemisphere semifinal. In the end, ended up with one Northern Hemisphere team and probably going to have none in the final. So kind of business as usual, I suppose. It's one of those things, safest bet, New Zealand making a Rugby World Cup final. But still some really good matches at the weekend. And who knows, maybe England can spring a surprise. But one place where England really need to spring some surprises is in the Cricket World Cup, where they put in an embarrassing performance on Sunday against Afghanistan. And I think people have overreacted to the fact that they lost to Afghanistan. People have treated that as if it's some colossal upset. And Afghanistan are a pretty decent team with some very good players. It's just the manner in which they lost. Like it's one thing to lose, but they were swept aside in the end. And I think that's the more concerning thing. And especially considering the fact that they were swept aside by New Zealand in the first match, to then be swept aside by Afghanistan in their third match. It's not looking good.
Yeah, not good. So the rugby, unfortunately, I didn't watch. I just saw the scores and then did some reading up, the classic Tim analysis of reading about the match afterwards and just not watching. I wish I had watched the South Africa-France match. It looked like a really good contest.
It was. Can I have one complaint about this Rugby
What's
World
that?
Cup? Every big match that's being played, two big takeaways. One, everyone says, that should have been the final. That's been said.
like second round robin match, that should have been the final.
Genuinely, I've heard that said about three matches so far in this Rugby World Cup. South Africa, Ireland in the group stages, South Africa, France, New Zealand, Ireland. All three, I've heard the same people say that should have been the final, involving four different teams. And then also, that's the best game of rugby I've ever seen, which again, I've heard said about all three of those matches, and again by all the same people. Now, I guess you could be more forgiving to the best match of rugby because technically each match could have surpassed the previous one, but I find it unlikely that the top three matches of rugby you've ever seen all happened in this World Cup. But I know it's just the recency bias and the hyperbole that people love to embrace, but that's my only slight critique. And they were fantastic matches, don't get me wrong. But it's just like, it's such uncreative analysis. For people when you're being paid, a random guy watching the match in a bar or whatever, who cares? But when you're legitimately being paid to react to a sporting event, and the best thing you can come up with, best match I've ever seen, wow, I can't believe how good that was, and that should have been the final. I mean, we don't need you. You should hand your salary back in.
And I think France were favored in that match, right?
They were, I mean, we can talk about it it's similar to the NFL, right? In spreads. I think kickoff, they were 1 point favorites, maybe 2 point
Okay.
favorites. And the same with Ireland against New Zealand. So they were
Yeah.
both favorites, but they were, it's certainly not a surprise. I think New Zealand beating Ireland was more of a surprise, even though from a bookmaker perspective, it was pretty much the same. But I think most people, the kind of percentage chance given to Ireland to progress through that quarterfinal would have been far, far higher. France, I think most people would have seen as a kind of 50-50, let's say 55-45 in France's favor. And Ireland, I think would have been a lot higher. And in both instances, both Ireland and France probably might feel like they should have won, but didn't.
And now England are pretty clear underdogs, correct?
Yeah, I mean, this is the disappointing thing with the way this World Cup has worked out, is that it's not delivering the most exciting, at least on paper, semifinals. So you have
because the match of the finals should have been the one in the semis.
That's true. Yeah. But, so New Zealand are 18-point favorites against Argentina in the first semifinal, and South Africa are 13-point favorites against England. So again, if you're an American, doesn't follow rugby, just imagine if the NFC and AFC championship games both had double-digit favorites. You wouldn't exactly, you could talk yourself into. I think it's hard to talk yourself into Argentina beating New Zealand, both because Argentina haven't looked fantastic in this World Cup. New Zealand look like they're getting better and better as each week goes by. And you can go back to the Rugby Championship, the Southern Hemisphere equivalent of the Six Nations. And New Zealand handled Argentina fairly convincingly in that. And that was only a couple of months ago. So it's hard to make a case for Argentina. It's hard to make a case for England, but you could at least say, I don't know, they play tight rugby. They're trying not to make mistakes. They'll take points where they can. I think they'll both win by comfortable margins.
Yeah. And then to the cricket,
yeah,
it's just it was tough to watch. Not that I can watch all of it because it's on at like 2 a.m. my time, but when I wake up and hope to watch an exciting finish and then watch that finish, that was terrible.
The tough thing for me is I really like Jos Buttler, and he's obviously such an exciting player to watch bat, but his captaincy is making me dislike him, and that bothers me because I really still want to. And the things that I like about him are making me dislike him. As he's so, again, it kind of goes back to almost the Bellingham conversation. He's so softly spoken. He's sort of never, his sort of energy levels and mood never seem to shift. He's like in neutral the whole game. Like he looked a little dejected during the Afghanistan match when they cut to him and he was sitting on the bench, but still just kind of looked like same old Jos Buttler. And I just feel like take the captaincy away from him. Let him be the batsman who comes in and smashes 80 off 25 balls, and let someone else deal with the leading, inspiring the team, setting the field. It's obviously not his strength.
It's always weird to me that in cricket, each format has different captains.
Traditionally, they wouldn't have. So it's not that long ago where it would have all been, in the 90s, it would have all been the same person. It's just as specialization has come into it more and more, both in terms
But it's weird when you have Stokes on the team, on the squad.
Well, he's only a bat because he unretired, right? So
yeah, I guess. And you have Joe Root, who also used to be like you have two other players who are captains on that team, and that puts them in a weird spot, right? Because you don't want to they probably are nice enough people that they don't want to step on Butler's toes of being the captain. But I can only imagine someone like Ben Stokes after that loss isn't itching or dying to speak up a little more.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know that dynamic. He might be happy, to have someone else step in and do that. And certainly I think on the pit, like when they're in the field, having that input of people discussing field changes and strategies for bowlers, that has to be useful to have that extra insight. But yeah, he doesn't inspire any confidence. And it's interesting because, right, Owen Morgan, who maybe the greatest captain in the history of white ball cricket for any nation, also softly spoken and quiet and reserved. But the difference was he had like a steely quietness about him, sort of very focused. Whereas Joss Butler just seems like, he you could push him over with a reasonably strong wind, like it just doesn't. And again, I really like him, and it annoys me because, I mean, look, he's probably done as captain after this World Cup. This is it. But yeah, it's tarnishing my, when he retires, when all is said and done with Joss Butler's career, this World Cup will have a disproportionate impact on how I felt about him as an England player, and that's kind of a shame.
The light breeze blowing him over reminds me, I heard Peyton Manning say a quote the other day that one of his coaches told him he couldn't outrun his eyesight in a week. For how slow he was. That's pretty good.
That's not a bad one. I'll have to file that one away. It's a good but yeah, we'll see. They got a big test against South Africa. Ironically, this is a big weekend for England, South Africa in multiple formats.
Yeah.
To doubleheader England, South Africa on Saturday. And if England lose both of them, that's a bad Saturday for me.
Well, I think we can finish on a lighter topic of sports, and that's the Olympics. Now, it was announced that for the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics, there will be 5 new sports added. Do you know what these sports are, Eddie?
Yeah, I think I hate them all as Olympic sports. So cricket. Flag football. Baseball and softball, right? We're back.
Baseball, softball.
And I actually can't remember what the...
Squash.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me, actually. I'm fine with squash.
And lacrosse.
Lacrosse?
Yes.
Yeah, lacrosse bothers me too. So the squash, I know squash is the only one to me that feels like it should be in the Olympics. All of those others.
Baseball, softball? No?
I'm a firm believer that the criteria for should your sport be in the Olympics, question number 1 is the greatest achievement in your sport winning the Olympics? Now, maybe softball, because who knows what else they win. This is just more of me being dismissive of this professional softball than it is anything else. But you're not telling me that any one of those players would rather win a gold medal in the Olympics than win the World Series. Maybe some players who don't, like maybe some Japanese or Korean players, like there probably going to be some nations where that is the case. But anyone like playing in the majors, I don't think is realistically making that decision.
I don't know, though, because you look at basketball, and I think basketball has had a great run at the Olympics, and I think almost all of them will trade in. Oh, come on. Don't give me the dismissive look. The Dream Team is one of the most talked about sports moments
in the U.S.
history.
Yeah. It's so American centric, right? Like the basketball's fine as an Olympic sport. I don't think it should be in the Olympics though. I like basketball, so don't get me wrong. I watch Olympic basketball. Like I'm gonna watch Olympic cricket. I'm gonna probably watch Olympic flag football and just question why on earth something that I don't even really think is a sport is suddenly in the fucking Olympics. But I'll probably watch them. But I just think...
I mean, the flag football is by far the most egregious one, because that's played by a sport that the real people who would be good at that sport aren't playing that version of the sport. Like it's like you're saying, it's close to not even being a real sport.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not going to knock on the people who play professional flag football, because I've watched it, and yes, it's difficult, I'm sure, and everything. But in the grand, and what bothers me is you've already seen people in flag football come out. So Tyreek Hill had said, he had sent a tweet when this happened, like, "Hey, everybody, let's like put our best team in and go win this. And then there were professional flag football team who responded being like, you have no idea how different it is. You guys would never do good in this sport. And that angers me because, yes, maybe for like the first 2 weeks when they didn't fully know the rules and the routes and the different tweaks, they wouldn't be good. But you can go fuck yourself if you think Tyreek Hill won't smoke you up and down the field in flag football just because he has to move his hips a little differently to avoid a tackle. Like, get the hell out of here, buddy. What'd you do? Oh, you played Division III in Pennsylvania that no one's ever heard of at a liberal arts school? Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. That hip movement you do, Tyreek Hill couldn't do. Like, shut up.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. And Gronk said he wants to come back for it. I mean, which sounds perfect for Gronk. This is like
Gronk at the Olympics.
Yeah. I mean, he'll be both enjoyable and annoying to watch. And Gronk in the Olympic Village, I mean, that's
He's actually a little too old.
He will be pretty. Well, you say this. He's not as old as you think he is, right? He's only like 33.
But that's old in Olympics. The Olympic Village, the average age is like 23, 24.
Yeah, it's sure, but he'll be fine. But, yeah, I mean, no, I agree with. I barely consider flag football to be a sport. I mean, it's a toned down version of another sport. Like, it doesn't. It would be like five-a-side football, which is more of a sport, but five-a-side football being in the Olympics, and I would just
or 3-on-3 basketball, which is in the Olympics.
Yeah, I think you can. Here's the difference: is if they got rid of normal basketball in the Olympics, I'd actually be fine with 3-on-3 because that at least requires again some specialization. So, because you can make a strong case that actually some NBA players would be great 3-on-3 basketball players, but a lot wouldn't. Like, the skill set would not translate perfectly. So, but yeah, I just don't think. I think leave the Olympics to sport where that is the pinnacle of your sport, and if it's not, then don't want to. It's just these are just people being greedy. I also think there has to be a more global footprint of your sport, and cricket can make an okay case for the global footprint, but it's they come up with dumb arguments like, well, we have to have cricket in the Olympics because Virat Kohli has more social media followers than like LeBron James, Messi, and whoever else they said combined. It's like, well, yeah, but 85% of them, 90% of them are all in one country. Like, that doesn't it doesn't make you a global sport to just be the biggest athlete in India. Like, I'm not trying to downplay that, but it doesn't. So, cricket bothers me. Flag football bothers me.
Lacrosse. Does lacrosse have the global footprint?
I've never seen anyone. When I was at university in England, there were lacrosse teams because there's like a team for every sport. Like someone starts it. But I've never stumbled across someone playing lacrosse in Europe. Like, I've not met a 30-year-old still playing lacrosse. I've never met a guy who's like, I play professional lacrosse in Germany. Whereas I've met, over the last 15 years, I've met people who've played a sport professionally and pretty much, like every sport where you'd be like, I don't think they play that professionally in Europe. And then someone would be like, well, yeah, I get paid €2,500 a month to do that. But yeah, lacrosse, ultimately too, if I wanted to be really biased in this, I don't really care about the medals table, but this also just feels like we're just handing the U.S. four more gold medals.
Well, the U.S. just edged out Italy in last year's flag football, international flag football championship.
Who was Jimmy Garoppolo quarterback for Italy?
No, he was injured.
This is like his crowning achievement. I mean, I guess that would be the interesting thing. Can I harp on that too? Joel Embiid is now going to play for the U.S. What absolute horse shit. I know who Hakeem Olajuwon did it too, right, and stuff, but like, represent your country. And I know, like, there's plenty of people who play for the countries that are not the countries of their birth or whatever. You can naturalize. I'm fine with that to the large extent. I'm not okay with Joel Embiid's like 28 years old, just into his NBA career, thinking to himself, you know what would be cool? I should win an Olympic gold medal because I might not win an NBA championship, but I should at least retire with an Olympic gold medal. So I'm going to become American and I'm going to win an Olympic gold. Such bullshit.
Is that why he became American?
I mean, that's not what he said, right? But that's why he did it. He didn't do it because he just fucking loves hot dogs.
Wow. What do you really think about America, Eddie? They're just there for hot dogs.
They don't need Joel Embiid. That's my point. Like,
No, your point was the only thing America's good at is hot dogs. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know why you keep need to add more and more sports. Do we need more sports in the Olympics? Like, do you need more sports just for the sake of having more sports in the Olympics? Like, I don't get why you add lacrosse when there's maybe 5 countries that are somewhat decent at it.
I mean, 5 seems strong, to be honest with you.
I'm just trying to not like discredit some like random country that is really good. Is like, you don't know about Sweden's national lacrosse team.
I mean, I would have thought it's between 2, right? USA and Canada. I would guess that's it.
Canada invented it.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's
yeah.
Like, I'll bet my absolute fucking life right now that the final of the men's and women's lacrosse is USA Canada.
No, actually, it's going to be in the semis, but it should have been in the finals.
Best game of lacrosse I've ever seen.
Best game ever.
But you know what I mean?
Should have been the finals.
This is the joke, but yeah, and look, it doesn't really. If I'm like Russia, I mean, they're not technically in the Olympics at the moment anyway, but
they're furious because they're not even in it.
But or China. I mean, be like, what the fuck? We're trying to close the medal gap, and so now you're just giving them more sports. I mean, what? Yeah. It's and I don't care about that part of it, but I don't know. And I agree with you. Why are they adding it? The only reason they're adding it is to make more money. Right? You just have to be cynical. It's selling attendance to more sports, and surprise, surprise, too. They're picking sports that are like stadium sports, so nice big attendances. Like.
How long until pickleball is an Olympic sport? Next Olympics.
If pickleball becomes an Olympic sport, I might become a terrorist and I might blow up the Olympic Games.
Wow.
Pickleball, again, barely a sport.
Oh, it'll be a sport in 2032. Can I bet that now? Find me a line, Eddie. I want to bet it.
Couldn't find you any actual odds, but yeah, I mean, I think
I'm gonna call my bookmaker.
The thing that will hurt pickleball, it's still very much a U.S. sport. It's got to do a lot of global growth.
Well, so is lacrosse.
I know, but people at least it's got age to it, right?
Lacrosse is played in 78 nations.
I mean, what does that mean? I'm looking at the Lacrosse World Cup. So let's just go back through the history. It's existed since 1967. The World Lacrosse Men's Championship. So it's existed since 1967, and here are the winners of that in order. So since 67, USA, USA, Canada, USA, 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 Canada, USA, Canada, USA, USA.
Did you just have a stroke?
That's it. And let me read you since 1998. Let me read you the finals. USA against Canada, 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 USA against Canada. I can't wait to see this. This is such a fucking joke.
That is so good.
In 1990,
what are the early odds now for betting USA versus Canada for the finals?
Bet your house. So on 3 occasions, a country other than the USA or Canada on 4. So the inaugural round, it was USA Australia, and the second time it was USA England. But it also,
Ooh.
but actually, these were not finals. They were just runners up because it was a league. So something weird happened there. But then 1982, it was USA Australia. In 1994, it was USA Australia.
So Australia's gonna get the bronze.
You'd,
So it's gonna be USA, Canada, Australia. We don't have to play it. We're good. You added it. Don't have to play it. We medaled it.
yeah.
Next.
I mean, to put it in perspective, and not to shit on Native people and First Nation people, but in the medal table of all time, ranked 5th is the Haudenosaunee men's national lacrosse team, which is the Iroquois nations. So technically not a real country, is 5th in their medals table. This is the global impact of their sport. It's not a good look. But yeah, congratulations USA, congratulations Canada. We can just put one extra medal on the board for you.
Well, and squash, Eddie, do you want to take a guess? What country the men's championship has been from for the past 7 years?
Now it might be Great Britain, and you're trying to do this to me to get one back, but I'm going to guess it's American.
And actually, 8 years, the women's final, also from the same country.
Great Britain?
Egypt.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, no, actually, that does register. Yeah. No, look, squash to me is a legitimate global sport. People play squash everywhere. And also, if meets the, again, I know this is just my own definition of what an Olympic sport would be. I am sure that winning a gold medal in squash will become bigger than winning the world championship in squash. Like, I'm sure if you give players that choice, they would pick the Olympic experience and being able to say, I'm an Olympic gold medalist, over being able to say, I'm a squash world champion. It's, to me, like, tennis shouldn't be in the Olympics because no one's realistically choosing a gold medal over.
I mean, no one's even playing in it.
No, they play, but, like, you know, Andy Murray would trade his Olympic gold medal in for a Wimbledon title.
For one good knee.
Hip. His big issue is hips.
Hip. Sorry. I know I said knee.
I mean, he might even trade his Olympic gold medal for a runner-up in Wimbledon. You know, like, so I'm not going to think, like, there's a lot of sports. Fundamentally, to me, it should be track and field and swimming, and that's kind of it.
That should be a good question we should ask him off the record. Would you trade your Olympic gold medal to automatically reach the finals of Wimbledon? Doesn't mean you win it.
I think he'd say no.
You think he'd say no?
I also think he may have won 2 gold medals. So he might.
No, that's not fair.
Might,
then he would say yes.
Yeah, he won in 2012 and 2016. He might trade 2016. I don't think he'd trade 2012 because that was the London Olympics, right? So winning in front of the home supporters at Wimbledon, he'd probably hold on to that one. 2016 in Rio, maybe he'd trade that for one more Wimbledon final with a chance of maybe winning.
And just to get back to Tyreek Hill's comment about, there is 0% chance the NFL would ever allow their players to play in a flag football competition in the Olympics.
No, but I guess Tyreek Hill would be retired by then, probably. 5 years? 5 years from now?
Let's hope not.
I mean, that's the thing. A lot of these players, probably perfect timing for them of, like, I'll retire and then go to the Olympics. Like, you know, you'll be 32, 33. It's...
So on most projected, like, what would the team be? Lamar Jackson is the starting quarterback.
He'd be unstoppable. I agree with you though, because Lamar will not be retired in 5 years' time, and there's just no way the Ravens. The only thing he could do, I guess, is be a free agent.
Is hold out.
Yeah, be a
hold out his contract to demand to play.
That's the only thing. But
Lamar Jackson better than Mahomes in flag?
yeah, I would think so.
Because Mahomes has got that like just weird. I'll run around for 20 minutes and then make a crazy throw.
I think Mahomes though would be way more tackleable in flag, because when he does his little avoiding you kind of thing, I think if it's just a flag on his hip, I think you are ripping that off. Whereas Lamar's just like blowing by you. But I mean, I'm not stopping either of them. I'm not trying to make it sound like that, but
yeah.
I part of me feels like Mahomes, like sneakily bad flag football player.
I don't think he's sneakily bad at anything football related.
I mean, number one, Brock Purdy. Unstoppable.
I mean, he fits the bill. Not so great college quarterback.
Kind of an athletic white guy. Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess with that, we got no more Purdy. We'll wrap it up.
All right.
Have a good one.
Well, see ya.
Cheerio.